It's Suspiria time. Look at this beautiful, beautiful 4K restoration. Look how pretty that is. I mean, seriously, guys, if you saw the unboxing I did on this thing, ugh, it's just, whew. It's gorgeous, isn't it? In case someone doesn't have this or didn't see the unboxing, I don't really do unboxings, but because this is such a big deal, I was so happy to get it. Oh, Jesus, it's beautiful. This is the Blu-ray of Blu-rays I wanted, and now I got it. So, now, it's funny because when I was looking this up, I happened upon, and it was like 2 hours after it was announced, that the 2018 Suspiria, that's being directed by the guy who did Call Me By Your Name, and the score is being done by Tom York from Radiohead, and stars Dakota Johnson and Tilda Swinton, that they've just announced that it will be getting a fall release this year. The poster said so, and Amazon Studios, who's backing it, has made an official announcement. They actually showed some footage at this little festival or whatever, and I guess people were saying it was disturbing and disgusting and whatever, so I'm excited about that. I think this movie has a lot of promise, a lot of hope. I know a lot of people hate when classics like this are remade, but I think we definitely need to remain optimistic with all the talent on board and a lot of the things that we're hearing from set. I think for now, it's encouraging, and it's something we should be excited about, and we shouldn't just be like, whatever, it's a Suspiria remake. There's no way it can ever be that. And it's not going to be this movie. But anyway, I'm not going to talk too much about that. I just thought it was coincidental that it just so happened to be announced like 2 hours after I started watching this. So now, the first thing that anyone's going to want to talk about with this movie, I think, is, I guess, either A, the music, the soundtrack score by Goblin, which is incredible, obviously, and one of the great scores of all time. It's so haunting, and it really just sticks with you. But also the color palette within the movie. The colors themselves are like the antagonist of the film. They are utilized so well within this film, and they play such a key and significant role that they almost become a character, as does the music. I mean, when she's walking out of the airport and the doors are opening and closing, like, you can hear the music outside. When they close, they shut off. And then when it opens, it's like the music and the outside is just like waiting for her. Like, she's getting there and the horror's just right outside waiting for her. And as soon as she steps out of that comfortable airport, she's going to be propelled into this nightmare. And, the way that the color is used here, it's not just there for beauty, which it, is very beautiful, but it's also there to, almost alert your senses that someone's in danger, that something's going wrong, that it's a threat. Like, this girl's pushed into a cabinet at some point in this movie, and the lights almost, attack her in a way. That's the way it feels in the moment. They're just like adding to that stress level. They're attacking you, should I say? And I just love how effectively the lighting is used in this film. I just feel like sometimes it is a underutilized, facility that you have at your disposal as a filmmaker. And I love that Argento started really playing around with the lighting and adding so many vibrant colors that would otherwise not be seen as scary, because the film is so pretty and the colors are almost flamboyant in a way, where they're like intense magentas and pinks and blues, and just those don't usually fit horror so much as they would something else, like a romantic film, or you know what I mean. So just love the overuse of color here in a way. It really adds to the film and your memory of the film. and what a film to have on Blu-ray, because this is just the movie you wanted to see on Blu-ray. You wanted to see all these colors pop. You wanted to see how pretty it would look, and my good God, does it look great. Now, let's get into the film, like, things that are actually happening within the film. This film doesn't have a whole lot of story to it. It is very much style over substance. So as much as I adore this film, and I do regard it as a classic and one of Argento's best, it is lacking in the story department. Now, of course, somebody who's seen it 50 times and has 1,000 different theories, and they'll be like, oh man, you're just dense, you don't get the underlying meanings and all the different messages and metaphors and whatever. Yeah, I'm sure there is. But as I said, like, just talking about it from a pure storytelling standpoint and just pointing out scenes that I thought were interesting, it doesn't leave me a ton to talk about unless I started breaking down possible theories, which I'm not usually huge into those. But anyway, now, I like that the killer is really never seen here. We really just kind of get like the eyes, the hands, stuff like that. And that makes, because one of the things I talk about when it comes to horror is that real horror and the way horror used to be, and I'm not saying that new films don't have real horror and that they're like inferior or something. That's not what I'm really trying to say. What I'm trying to say is that I feel that horror is what you can't see. It's the unknown. It's what lives dormant in your imagination. And you wake it up when there's something that is, stalking you. And your mind plays tricks on you, and it makes the bad worse. Like, it makes what is out there worse than it could ever actually be. So letting your imagination run wild is the most effective thing that a filmmaker can do with horror. Because once the monster is revealed, our brains can start to deal with it and act accordingly. And what these films do is they keep you in a very uncomfortable place where you just don't know what's going on. So anyway, and your body, and as I said, your mind will just kind of fill in the blanks, and it'll make it, because your imagination is worse than pretty much anything that they can put on screen. But yeah, so we get to see these eyes, and then her chest opens up, and we see a beating heart, and like the fucking knife comes in and like stabs into the beating heart, and it like pusses up. It's awesome. That scene is so brutal and so intense. And then her head like falls through the stained glass, and then her whole body falls through, and the rope is coming, it's snapping off the walls, and it just, the way that's shot, the way that's shown of her body snapping, it looks so gruesome and brutal. The way that they shot it, the way it's kind of sped up, and I love that shot so much, especially when they do that like high angle shot where they're looking up at the body and she's just swinging there, and then they pan down and her friend has been killed by all, the the glass shrapnel that came from the ceiling. It's just such a great, brutal scene. And this film doesn't have a lot of death in it. This film isn't like a gore fest. This film isn't a kill a minute by any means. But like a scene like that, it just hits so hard. It's such a strong punch, and it leaves such a lasting impression. So I think when kills are done that effectively, I don't need gratuitous amounts of it. I don't need 50 kills in a movie when 2 or 3 are extremely memorable and effective. Not that I'm opposed to 50 kills in a movie, because obviously I love that kind of shit. I just watched Dead Alive, aka Brain Dead, recently, and that movie has like 300 kills, and almost every one of them is memorable, and that movie's amazing. But it's not absolutely necessary. A film like this can do it just as effectively It's quality over quantity kind of thing. And then we get the, I don't know how maggots start falling from everyone's room. There's a whole lot of things within this film that are just kind of, you know, you got to just suspend disbelief. There's so many things. And because it kind of plays in the supernatural realm, you can't be like, well, why does this here? And it's like, we're talking about witches. We're talking about it's not realistic, so let's not try to make it too damn realistic. So, but I just like thinking about that. Like all of a sudden, maggots are in every single room. Man, they moved quick and they got through everybody's ceiling. And then this dog turns on some kid, and then the owner is like really like meanly thrown out of this place. That just seems fucked up. She like takes his cane, throws it across the room. And he goes out and he's so scared and he doesn't know what the hell to do. He's like thinks that there's something out there, and what attacks him is the one thing in the world that he still can trust. Like he has nothing else. He doesn't have his vision, he doesn't have his job, he doesn't have anything, and the only thing that's there to protect him is what turns on him in that moment. His dog bites his throat out, which is just super fucked up. And I love when this girl is getting chased and she like jumps up onto this ledge and then she just leaps down into, I'm guessing is supposed to be what, razor wire? I don't know what the hell that's supposed to be, but it's just a bunch of wire and it like wraps her up. It reminds me of one of the traps in Saw 1. The fat guy is trying to get out. But yeah, I was just like, she didn't look down before she jumped. Like, who the fuck does that? No one would do that. Nobody would jump to the top of a ceiling, like a roof, and not just look down even for a second. Who knows what the fuck could be down there? It could be a 30-foot drop. It could be, I get she was scared, she was in a rush or whatever, but you have 1 millisecond to look down, and it was well lit, let me tell you what. So, but maybe in her, in her reality in that moment, she couldn't really see, and we were just, being shown what was down there. That's the argument I'll use for her. We get a very young Udo Kier. I never know how to say this guy's name. I'm terrible with people's names sometimes. He actually is pretty handsome in this movie. He's such a creeper now in his older age, and he plays these like really scummy characters, and I don't know. But now, like I saw him now in this, and back in 77, and I'm like, oh, like he's actually a good looking dude. Like I get why he was why he got into film at that time. And it's always cool seeing him because he's such a horror icon nowadays. We also have like the horror movie trope of horror movie tropes that she like finds an expert on the subject. I know that a lot of horror movies now get shit for that. And I like how old movies like this seem to be kind of impervious to scrutiny that newer films seem to just be blasted for. Like if you do something in a new movie now that's been done in classics before, like they are totally, they're safe. You can't fucking say nothing about those. But in these ones, like Sinister or whatever, where the guy like calls up Vincent D'Onofrio, seems to be playing a majority of these roles these days, and he just is the expert on the subject. People are just, they roll their eyes, and it's like, they do it in all these fucking movies, man. Why do they get, why do these get away with it? And then she's in her room at the end, and she's like, I don't know what the hell this chick's drinking, because she pours it down the sink, and then she's like trying to wash it out, and it's like paint. It is like straight up paint. It is so stained around that white sink. I was, what the fuck is that stuff? She drink that, she's gonna die. And then a bat flies through, and really, like, she covered it with like a sheet or whatever, and it was sitting there. It was contained. That sheet was way too heavy for it to get out of there. So close the door. Go get somebody. Like, she beats it to death. Poor fucking bat. What a bitch. That was just cover it and leave, asshole. Poor little bat, it just like flew through the window and didn't know where it was, and you cover it with a sheet and you beat it to death. You deserve to die. And I love how, like, at the beginning of the movie, we see that she sees this girl who's leaving the dance academy to, to run away from it all. And she sees her mouth moving, which she somehow she isn't able to put the words together till later, which I just think is bullshit, but it doesn't matter. She does, she puts them together, and it just so happens to be her announcing exactly how to get down into this secret layer. To who? Like, why was she saying that? Was she exposing them? Like, I went down there, I know where your shit is, and I'm just going to specifically state it, and it just so happens to be right in front of the main girl as she's walking out, and she's not going to be able to remember any of this until later into the fucking film when it's necessary. It's all so convenient. And I love, like, thinking about writing scripts like this and being like, all right, she's just going to so happen to overhear her, like, yelling to some random person we never find out about exactly how to enter this. And then it's so silly when you really think about it. It's like, yeah, that's bullshit, but whatever. And then we find out that one of these girls has, like, I love the shot where the girl has, like, pins in her eyeballs, and she's been, like, crucified, and then she gets up off the table and she's walking out, she's got the pins in her eyeballs. That's such a great shot. And we actually see what looks like a bird with a crystal plumage in this. This actually has more of a bird with a crystal plumage, in my opinion. That thing that falls down and she picks up one of the things. It looks like a bird with crystal plumage, and we don't really see one in the the titular title character is missing from that film, and we have it here. And then the witch is invisible, but lightning seems to give away her shape and her place. She's like a predator. Maybe she's using, like, predator invisibility gear. But yeah, she gets axed, and the place starts to explode like Big Trouble in Little China. She must be like a David Lopan descendant or something. But yeah, I mean, come on. I know there's people out there who don't like Suspiria, they think it's overrated, but come on, what movie isn't overrated to some dipshit? This movie's awesome. It's very light on story, and it can be slow at times, but there's not a moment where it's not beautiful. There's not a moment when the music is playing that you're not totally invested. In my opinion. Of course, there's people out there who watch it and they're like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. This movie's ugly, and the music sucks, and I'm going to go jump off a fucking cliff and do the whole world a favor. Oh, wait. That's my, yeah. All right, guys. Moving on.